Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 65 based on novel. So let's start. Two bodies that were covered in blood fell feebly onto the ground. Some dust rose and gradually fell, just like a sandstorm that was about to come to a stop. The entire city was completely silent. After a short moment of awe, many pairs of eyes turned to look at the only young man who was still standing tall in the large pit. Grave expressions that were filled with admiration appeared in their eyes. After all, they understood the terrible price one would have to pay in order to defeat the two individuals in front of him. The only younger generation member in the chaotic demon sea who could accomplish this feat was likely this abnormal fellow, Lin Dong. He has actually won. Truly remarkable. Zhu Zi's eyes were also somewhat lost as he looked at the back of the figure. Promptly, he released a deep sigh. At this moment, even someone as proud as him had no choice but to acknowledge Lin Dong's strength. Only after having personally fought with Hua Chen and Xu Xiu, did one truly understand how powerful those two were. Yet, Lin Dong was able to defeat the both of them alone. It was likely that no one amongst the younger generation in the chaotic demon sea could match up to him. Teacher's eyesight is indeed extremely sharp. Tang Xinlian's pretty bright eyes contained a bright luster as she looked at that man's back. Right now, her tone was gentle and sweet, and this was clearly a rare display from her. I knew that big brother Lin Dong would win. Mu Lingshan exclaimed in joy. Perhaps, amongst the three of them, she was the only one who had always believed that Lin Dong would win. In the future, big brother Lin Dong will become an extremely famous person in the chaotic demon sea. If that nefarious bone old man from the demonic wind cave comes to learn about this, it is likely that he will not dare to show up in front of Lin Dong. At a building a short distance away from the huge pit, Guya suddenly stood up and said with a smile. Her tensed heart finally relaxed after the result appeared. Beside her, Gu Mingqi and Guya exchanged glances and laughed softly. They knew that Lin Dong's name would likely reverberate across the entire chaotic demon sea after this fight. Although they were unaware of the status that Lin Dong had in the Eastern Xian region, it was likely that a huge commotion would also be stirred at that region when the news arrived. This man, who had came from the Eastern Xian region, could shock anyone. The silence within Fiery Flame City continued on for a while. Suddenly a cheer erupted. Soon after, the entire city began to shake as countless cheers and congratulations erupted. Finally, they gathered together and seemed to blast across the entire city. Such an exciting battle could impress anyone. The figure within the huge pit trembled slightly amidst the earth-shaking cheers reverberating across the entire city. Suddenly, he began to cough intensely, spurting fresh blood out from his mouth. After which, he covered his mouth with his hand. His face was shockingly pale. What difficult fellows to deal with. Lin Dong looked at the two figures in front of him and involuntarily laughed bitterly. He could feel that his current body was completely drained of yuan power. A giddy sensation also surged from deep within Lin Dong's mind at this moment. He was just about to lift his foot when his body involuntarily staggered and fell. However, Lin Dong's falling body did not land miserably on the ground. At the final moment, he noticed a red light flash in front of him. Soon after, he felt his body colliding against a soft surface. A fragrance suddenly entered his nostrils stealthily. This sudden gentleness caused the giddiness in Lin Dong's mind to diminish slightly. He turned his head and saw a pair of pretty and enchanting eyes looking back at him. His body was leaning on her gentle and soft body. Tang Xinlian did not avoid Lin Dong's gaze. Instead, a smile surfaced on her exquisite face. The gentle expression on her face was extremely uncharacteristic for someone who was usually tough. Tang Xinlian supported Lin Dong as the latter sat down. Then, she kneeled down and sat beside him. After which, she lifted her head to look at the azure sky. The current silence was a mismatch with the previous shocking and murderous aura. Thank you. Tang Xinlian stared at Lin Dong and smilingly said. She was aware that Mo Luo had put in a great amount of effort for this plan. If Lin Dong failed, all his effort would have came to naught. At the same time, it was likely that their flame divine hall would suffer quite a great blow to their reputation. They forced me into such a tight corner. There is no way I could retreat even if I wanted to do, Lin Dong smiled bitterly. He looked at his dirty and bloody hands before the bitter smile on his face grew even more intense. It has been a long time since he fought in such a ruthless fashion. While Lin Dong was looking at his blood-covered dirty hands, a long and delicate hand suddenly extended from beside him. After which, that hand held his hand in front of his stunned eyes. Next, that delicate hand took out a soft cloth before she slowly and gently rubbed away the blood traces on his hand. Lin Dong was a little stunned as he stared at this scene. The cooling sensation on his hand made him feel as though he was holding onto a soft jade. It was an extremely pleasant sensation. However, it also caused Lin Dong's scalp to turn numb. This was because he could hear the commotion from the city as well as feel a few piercing gazes directed at him. Are you trying to get me killed? Lin Dong was a little embarrassed. It was likely the first time that he had been treated in such a fashion by a beautiful girl. More importantly, Tang Xinlian had a unique status in the Flame Divine Hall and there were countless individuals in love with her. Being treated by her in such a manner would naturally incur an endless amount of hatred. Hence, his first reaction was to withdraw his hand. However, he forgot that in his current condition, he was no match for Tang Xinlian. Hence, when he tried to take his hand back, he realized that it was to no avail. Though I am a girl, I am not afraid. What are you afraid of? Tang Xinlian did not even look at Lin Dong as she spoke in a faint voice. Subsequently, she cleaned Lin Dong's blood-covered hand in a serious fashion. This spot quickly became the focus of attention in the city. Tang Xinlian's somewhat shocking act quickly stirred a monstrous commotion. After all, everyone in the chaotic sea region knew about the Flame Fairy. Moreover, her strength was comparable to her beauty. From a certain point of view, she was considered as the dream girl of countless young, handsome and talented men. However, this lady usually behaved in a valiant and manlike fashion. Her courage and strength, which was equivalent to that of a man, caused many to become wary of approaching her. However, at this moment, this lady, who commanded 80% of the Flame Divine Hall's army, was seated in a kneeling position beside a man and quietly cleaning the blood and dirt on his hand without regard for the mess. Whistle, whistle. This scene was far too provocative. Hence, whistling noises quickly sounded across the city. There was envy that could not be hidden within the whistling noises. To be able to enjoy such luxurious treatment, it seems like any amount of hardship is worthwhile. Standing outside of the giant pit, when Zhu Zi saw this scene, his eyes darkened. However, he quickly shrugged his shoulders in a suave manner. Tang Xinlian finally withdrew her hand in a nonchalant fashion after having cleaned Lin Dong's hands amidst the many lewd whistling. She glanced at Lin Dong and said, "I only wish to thank you for your help today. Do not overthink it." Tang Xinlian turned her head away after speaking, leaving the side of her pretty face for Lin Dong to look at. Her face consistently held a calm expression and it was as though what she did previously was nothing unusual. However, the exceptionally sharp Lin Dong could detect a faint tremor when Tang Xinlian withdrew her delicate hand. This lady's heart was not as calm as she appeared on the surface. Although Lin Dong realized it, he did not dare to mention anything. Instead, all he did was awkwardly nod his head in an embarrassed manner. Following which, he quickly turned towards the fallen Hua Chen duo and said, "They are still alive." Lin Dong quickly noticed Tang Xinlian's exquisite face turning icy after he uttered these words. Immediately, the latter clenched her hand before a fire phoenix spear appeared in her hand. "In that case, let's kill them." Tang Xinlian got up. That seemingly gentle girl from before had turned back into the ruthless and decisive Flame Fairy at the Flame Divine Hall. Her murderous intent caused Lin Dong's brow to twitch. Tang Xinlian was decisive and acted with lightning-like speed. Without further ado, she quickly stepped forward. Her eyes were icy as the long spear in her hand drew a cold light in the air before mercilessly piercing towards their heads. The long spear was about to strike their heads when a circular black light suddenly surged from within their bodies. A clang sounded and her long spear was blocked. This unexpected development caused Tang Xinlian's pretty eyes to shrink. However, no surprise was present on her beautiful face. Instead, she lifted her head, looked at the sky and spoke in a faint voice, "Are they finally going to show themselves?" Lin Dong lifted his head at this moment. After which, his eyes narrowed when he saw a huge black crack suddenly spreading in the azure sky. A terrifying demonic aura surged from within it. In the azure sky, a huge black crack slowly spread, just like a monster opening its large mouth. A frightening evil aura suddenly gushed out from within. That evil aura was of the same origin as that of Hua Chen and Xu Xiu. However, its intensity was several times that of the latter. Everyone could feel the surrounding Yuan power raging when the evil aura spread. They could detect resistance and disgust from the raging natural Yuan power. This fact caused many powerful individuals to be startled. This was the first time they felt the natural Yuan power actively repelling an object. Wasn't it the case that the natural Yuan power could be freely absorbed by any living creature in this world? What is that? Some eyes were filled with disbelief when they saw the unusual change occurring in the sky. Although the black demonic chi that swept forth made them feel extremely uncomfortable, they were unable to deduce the origin of this chi. Lin Dong sat on the ground. His eyes were grave as he stared at the opening black crack in the sky. Slowly clenching his hands, he muttered to himself, unable to hold on any longer. Her Flame Divine Guard. Tang Xinlian's bright eyes were icy cold as she suddenly cried out. Rushing wind sounds suddenly sounded after she cried. Thousands of figures wearing heavy crimson armor appeared in midair, before they slowly lifted the huge spears in their hands. At that moment, the auras of every Flame Divine Guard seemed to be connected together. That terrifying ripple caused the expressions of many onlookers to change. Bang! A black light suddenly erupted in the sky when the Flame Divine Guard appeared. After which, a black light beam shot out from within, before it transformed into a black glowing hand and grabbed the Hua Chen duo on the ground with lightning-like speed. "You are not allowed to act as you please in the grounds of our Flame Divine Hall." The crimson light suddenly swept out from Tang Xinlian's body. After which, it once again transformed into a pair of fire phoenix wings behind her. Her delicate body moved and she directly appeared in front of the Flame Divine Guard. Her hand clenched tightly onto her fire phoenix spear as her icy cold cry resounded over the entire city. "Flame Divine Guard, gather your strength." "Yes." Orderly, low, and deep cries sounded from the Flame Divine Guard in unison. Promptly, monstrous crimson yuan power spread before they directly transformed into a 10,000 feet large flame phoenix in the air above them. The fire phoenix was undoubtedly a lot more powerful than the one Tang Xinlian had previously formed. In fact, the temperature of the entire world seemed to risen and even the surrounding space became somewhat distorted. Tang Xinlian's lovely figure flew upwards before she directly landed on the 10,000 feet large phoenix. Subsequently, she slammed the fire phoenix spear in her hand heavily downwards. Crimson flames swept out like waves before they heavily collided with the majestic black light that was whistling down from the crack. Bang! A loud sound echoed in the sky as scarlet-red flames spread. However, it actually managed to completely block that extremely formidable attack. Lin Dong was shocked when he saw this scene. He could clearly sense just how powerful that attack, which had whistled out from the crack, was. In fact, even a perfect profound death stage expert would have to use all his strength in order to deal with it. However, it was easily shattered by Tang Xinlian. She is actually able to activate the strength of the Flame Divine Guard. Lin Dong glanced at the orderly army-like Flame Divine Guard behind Tang Xinlian. That great strength from before clearly came from gathering everyone's strength. Typically speaking, it required extreme camaraderie in order to merge everyone's strength. In fact, it was extremely difficult to accomplish such a feat even for disciples in the same sect. Clearly, the Flame Divine Hall had put in a great amount of effort in order to groom such a shockingly powerful army. Tang Xinlian, who could activate their strength, was clearly a lot more powerful compared to before, when she was fighting alone. Even at his peak, Lin Dong could only temporarily seek shelter against Tang Xinlian when she was in this form. You should show yourself since you have arrived. Why continue to hide? Tang Xinlian gently stood on her fire phoenix. Both her eyes were icy cold as she stared at the huge crack in the sky and cried out coldly. A little lass who does not know her limits. Black fog churned from within the crack before a sharp laughter was emitted. Promptly, evil black chi came surging out like floodwater. Then, it swiftly shrunk in the sky and finally transformed into a black figure. The black figure's body seemed to be stronger than that of a human, and he had a pair of demon wings covered in sharp bones. The entire world seemed to darken when he spread his demon wings. The black figure had features similar to that of a human. However, his face was covered with golden demonic symbols and he appeared quite peculiar at the first glance. Moreover, his pair of demonic wings was covered with golden lines. A relatively terrifying ripple was vaguely emitted. Is that? Lin Dong's pupils shrunk as he stared at the black figure whose demonic wings with gold patterns were spread and involuntarily clenched his hands tightly. General rank Yimmo. This was the first time that Lin Dong had seen a general rank Yimmo in person. Using the human classification, this fellow was equivalent to a samsara stage expert. It seemed like Mo Luo's plan had really attracted some big fish. Watch me shatter your fusion formation. Upon appearing, the Yimmo laughed towards the sky. Promptly, a ferocious expression surged in his eyes. Clenching his large hand, a monstrous black chi began to gather in front of him. After which, it transformed into a black swirl. Swinging his sleeves, the swirl began to rotate rapidly. Then, it was accompanied by a shocking destructive force as it charged towards the Flame Divine Guard. Imbecile, our Flame Divine Hall is not a place where you can do as you please. However, a furious cry sounded when the general rank Yimmo was about to attack. A red-robed old man appeared in front of Tang Xinlian before he threw his palm forward. Vast and mighty Yuan power rolled forth. Life and death chi merged perfectly within his Yuan power. It turns out that this red-robed old man was actually a samsara stage expert. Bang! Two terrifying attacks collided in the midair and the entire city seemed to have trembled briefly. An offensive ripple swept out and turned those nearby experts into a mess. That is, the first elder of the Flame Divine Hall, Elder Kai Yun. He is an ultimate samsara stage expert. Just what is this creature which had suddenly appeared? He is actually able to exchange blows with Elder Kai Yun. The frightening clash in the sky also left many onlookers stunned. Promptly, their expressions began to change. In fact, some of the more observant individuals began to vaguely sense that something was amiss. A samsara stage expert could be considered as an overlord in the chaotic demon sea, and they usually spent most of their time training in isolation. After all, there were hardly any incidents that required an expert of this level to intervene. Therefore, it must be an exceptionally major incident when these experts were involved. The Flame Divine Hall truly lives up to its name. It has a powerful foundation. The general rank Yimmo behind took a couple of steps backwards. He immediately laughed loudly as he looked at the red-robed old man, who had appeared in front of Tang Xinlian and said, however, if your Flame Divine Hall wants to lure us out openly, with your current puny abilities, you guys are merely inviting disaster. Both of you should also come out. This general rank Yimmo looked at the huge black crack behind as he uttered these words. It seems that this world is about to descend into chaos from today onwards. Monstrous black fog suddenly swept forth after his voice sounded. It gathered behind him before two other burly figures appeared. Demon wings that were covered with golden lines spread from the back of these two figures. Bang! The evil black fog quickly blotted out the sun after the three demonic figures appeared. At this moment, it appeared as though the sun in the sky had lost the heat that it originally had. 3 General rank Yimmo. Lin Dong's pupils shrunk tightly upon seeing this scene. Even with his calm temperament, he could not resist inhaling a breath of cold air at this moment. After all, these were 3 genuine samsara stage experts. The city turned into an uproar while Lin Dong gently inhaled a breath of cold air. The eyes of many onlookers became dull. Who would have expected that 3 of these ultimate experts, who were exceptionally difficult to spot, would show up together? Something big is about to happen. Some people faced each other. they could decipher the same meaning from the other party's eyes. 3 General rank Yimmo. It seems like you guys truly hold my flame divine hall in high regards. A faint voice suddenly spread over the sky at this moment. Many eyes turned. After which, they saw that in the flame divine hall, a muscular figure was slowly standing up. A flame symbol quietly burned on his brow while an extremely terrifying air swept out from within his body like a storm. However, Mo Luo's bright red eyes were indifferent as he stared at the 3 General rank Yimmo hovering in the sky. He turned his eyes and looked at the deepest part of the huge crack. His faint voice, however, caused Lin Dong's scalp to turn numb. A king rank Yimmo has came along too, am I right? Show yourself. I wonder which Yimmo king you are? King level Yimmo. Lin Dong's scalp was numb as he lifted his head to look at the huge black crack in the sky. No light was present. That endless evil darkness caused one to shudder. The words that were emitted from Mo Luo's mouth had clearly caused him to be greatly shocked. A king rank Yimmo, even during the ancient era, and Yimmo of that rank was an extremely terrifying existence. If one was to classify it using the human ranking system, he would be a genuine reincarnation stage expert. From a certain point of view, Lin Dong had never met a peak-level expert who had stepped into the reincarnation stage in person. Although Qing Zhi had already reached that level, Lin Dong had not met him in person. As for Ying Huan, though she might be the Ice Master, who was extremely frightening even during the ancient times, but that was merely her identity before her reincarnation. Those other super experts whom he had met like Ying Xuanzi, the 3 great heads of the Yuan Gate, Mu Lan, and the rest, were merely at the samsara stage. There was still a wide gap that was difficult to breach when compared with a genuine reincarnation stage expert. As for Mo Luo, although he possessed strength that was comparable to a reincarnation stage expert because of his blazing ancestral symbol, he had yet to truly step into the reincarnation stage. However, this so-called king rank Yimmo standing in front of him could be considered to have truly reached a level which few people have ever touched. Standing on a fire phoenix, Tang Xinlian and Elder Kai Yun had a change in their expressions at this moment. A king rank Yimmo. It was unexpected that they had even lured the king amongst the Yimmo over. Most people in the city were at a loss when they saw this scene. The king rank Yimmo that Mo Luo mentioned caused them to be puzzled. However, that was not the case for everyone present. Although knowledge regarding the Yimmo had gradually disappeared in the present world, there were still some remnant traces. Hence, some of the more powerful experts vaguely knew about their existence. Hence, these people merely gawked at the black crack in the sky in a startled manner. Their faces turned frighteningly pale while horror gathered deep within their eyes. You are indeed worthy of being the owner of the blazing ancestral symbol. Standing before the crack, the 3 great general rank Yimmo smilingly watched Mo Luo, who was standing in the distant flame divine hall. Their eyes were a little grave as they stared at the latter. Clearly, even though they were Yimmo, they did not dare to underestimate Mo Luo, who had reached the samsara stage and had a divine object like the blazing ancestral symbol. After all, there were many experts who died in the hands of the ancestral symbol owners ever since the ancient times. Mo Luo's bright red eyes stared indifferently at the 3 great Yimmo generals. He immediately lifted his hand before swinging it down gently. Bang! After Mo Luo waved his hand, it was possible to see many majestic auras suddenly erupting from within the flame divine hall. Light figures flashed and many people appeared all over the sky. Countless pairs of eyes from within the sky looked at the large group, which had appeared. Their eyes were grave while a tinge of shock quickly rose onto their faces. This was because they realized that the ones who had shown up were actually all extremely renowned experts from the Flame Divine Hall. This time around, the Flame Divine Hall had actually unleashed all of its strength. The 3 great general rank Yimmo in the sky looked at those top-tier experts from the Flame Divine Hall surrounding them, before they lifted their brow. The Flame Divine Hall was indeed well prepared. Show yourself. Mo Luo repeated. His eyes were searing hot as he stared at the huge black crack. Ha ha. The owners of the ancestral symbols are indeed difficult to deal with. Viscous black demonic chi suddenly surged out like floodwater from within the huge black crack line. The black demonic chi erupted into a deafening searing sound upon contact with this world. The yuan power that originally spread over this world had completely disappeared upon contact with this viscous black demonic chi. A terrifying indescribable aura slowly appeared from within the crack at this moment. Countless experts lifted their heads in shock. Just this aura alone had pressured them until they trembled continuously. In fact, they even had the impulse to kneel down. Monstrous-like viscous black chi suddenly surged. After which, a huge black throne slowly formed in the sky in front of countless pairs of eyes. A human figure had unknowingly appeared on the throne as it was taking shape. The human figure was wearing purple robes and he looked just like a human. However, there was a pair of ferocious demon wings behind him. His demon wings revealed a purple gold luster and there seemed to be an extermination-like ripple being emitted from it as it was extended. He had a purple pair of eyes. However, one was unable to see any emotions within them. It was as though those eyes belonged to the Grim Reaper. Is this the Yimmo king? Lin Dong's eyes did not blink as he stared the purple-robed man seated on the throne. Immediately, his expression turned grave. The terrifying aura seeping out from the latter's body caused the two great ancestral symbols in his body to tremble slightly. Mo Luo's eyes were also focused on the purple-robed man. A moment later, the flame symbol on his brow suddenly lit up. His body slowly floated while bright red flames swept around him. His ripples were not inferior to that of the purple-robed man. This king is known as Qianming, you can call me King Qianming. These are my 3 great demon generals. I have traveled a great distance today because of Hall Chief Mo Luo's invitation. The purple-robed man wore a smile as he looked at Mo Luo and spoke in a calm voice. You actually dare to come despite knowing that this is a trap. It seems like you are quite confident. Mo Luo spoke in a faint voice. Ha ha, the allure of the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol is far too great. It is worth a trip. Even if the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol is fake, the blazing ancestral symbol is real. King Qianming laughed. We have long known that Hall Chief Mo Luo possessed the blazing ancestral symbol. However, we were unable to act. Since we have appeared today, we will also take the blazing ancestral symbol at the same time. It is best that such divine objects do not land in your hands. I'm afraid that you do not have the ability to snatch my blazing ancestral symbol. Mo Luo narrowed his eyes and said, Ha ha, my tribe can easily destroy the lightning cave. Naturally, we are able to easily eliminate your flame divine hall as well. Only by sacrificing one king rank Yimmo, that was no easy task, even though there are still Yimmo remaining in this world, I wonder just how many kings are left. King Qianming smiled faintly. However, that smile suddenly became a lot sterner. His purple eyes stared at Mo Luo as he slowly stood up. Monstrous demonic aura spread out and blotted out the sun as he did so. This world will ultimately be ours. King Qianming laughed. He immediately rotated his eyes and looked towards Lin Dong below. Why does this little fellow cause me to feel such disgust? He is even more disgusting to look at compared to you. Kill him. King Qianming parted his mouth into a smile, revealing his dense white teeth. His chilling murderous intent caused one's body to tremble. Understood. The 3 great demon generals immediately replied after hearing his order. They laughed strangely while their bodies moved. The space itself became distorted. How dare you? Tang Xinlian's pretty eyes quickly became icy after she saw that they wanted to attack Lin Dong. A cold cry sounded before the fire phoenix under her feet whistled forward. All of you should stay here obediently. The space in front of them distorted before 2 black figures appeared in a flash. Demonic chi rose. Not only did they manage to block the fire phoenix, but even Elder Kai Yun had difficulty freeing himself. Tang Xinlian's pretty face was altered after she saw the 2 great demon generals standing in front of her. She hurriedly rotated her eyes. It was possible to see a black light appearing in front of Lin Dong below. Master! Tang Xinlian hurriedly cried out upon seeing this. However, Mo Luo did not do anything in the face of her cry. He stared intently at King Qianming, who had stood up in the distance. Even he did not dare to underestimate an opponent of this level. The space in front of Lin Dong was distorted. The Yimmo, which was wrapped by monstrous black chi, appeared in a flash. His eyes were indifferent as he glanced at the former. After which, he directly slammed his hand forward. Although I do not know why there is a need to view a little fellow like you seriously, we will take your puny little life since the Lord has ordered us to do so. The land around Lin Dong collapsed the moment the Yimmo attacked. Even the space itself became distorted, sealing off all escape routes. Furthermore, given his current condition, there was nothing he could do against an ultimate samsara stage expert. Lin Dong lifted his head. He looked at the black light rapidly being magnified in his eyes. He clenched his teeth as he gently shut his eyes. However, a bright green light suddenly flashed just as Lin Dong was about to completely shut his eyes. A familiar dragon roar resounded in an earth-shaking fashion. Bang! The space above Lin Dong quickly cracked apart. At the same time, a huge green dragon palm penetrated through the space and ruthlessly smashed onto the body of the Yimmo general. A terrifying strength spread and the Yimmo general, who had reached the samsara stage, actually shot 100,000 feet backwards. Along the way, the buildings were all reduced into dust upon contact. Countless people involuntarily cried out in a startled voice. Lin Dong was stunned when he saw this scene. He quickly turned his head and saw green light surfacing from the cracked space behind him. A tall figure slowly stepped out as a mocking laughter resounded in the sky. He is someone selected by me, Qing Zhi. How can I allow you to easily kill him? This video will end here.